Welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be making a Droneshield stock analysis. Now, you might be asking yourself, which branch is Droneshield in? Well, they're in aerospace and defense. But now, what does Droneshield actually make? Firstly, we have this drone gun MK4, which is a handheld drone gun who can shoot drones down. Then we have the bigger and more tactical drone gun Tactical, which is bigger and has larger range. This is also for shooting down drones. Then lastly, we have the Drone Sentry X MK2. This can both be stationary like this one, or put on a truck like this, and this is to disrupt any drone that is flying in. So say you have a vehicle and you don't want it hit, you put this on top and it then hopefully is going to crash before hitting the vehicle. Now let's get back to the stock. So right now we have the stock on a 1 hour basis, and it's quite obvious to see we've seen some quite crazy price action. We saw it rise quite rapidly in the middle of 2025 all the way up to late 2025. We're trading at 6.67 and then trading all the way down here to 1.65 again. So it is quite a volatile stock. That is also obvious over here in the beta at 3.44, which means it is 344% more volatile than the average index. However, if we take the stock on a bit of a longer time period, it's quite obvious that it is quite expensive right now compared to earlier. Now be aware this is in Australian dollars, not American. It's quite obvious it has been trading quite low for quite a while, as you can see below a dollar, below half an Australian dollar for quite a while. We have seen some peaks trading all the way up here into 2.70 and then all the way back down again. But overall, it is quite expensive now compared to earlier. And of course, this is also because back in 2021, 2020, and so on and so forth, there wasn't really that much focus on small cap stocks like this, especially in the drone field. Now, on the 1 hour candle time frame, it's quite obvious that we see some insane RSI movements as well. Now, if you don't know what the RSI is, this down here, that is the relative strength index. This shows which momentum a stock has. So, for example, when the stock shot up right here, we could see the RSI was trading in 92. This means that it's quite volatile as it's above 70, and this is being overbought. Now, always be careful when a stock is up here because it is much more volatile when it's up here. In general, we also see it quite a lot up here in the upper channel and as well down in the lower channel, and that is when they're either below 70 and above 50 or below 50 but above 30. Now, when we saw the stock fall recently, it was below 30 that's being oversold, and just like an overbought, always be careful when it's here or here because it's much more volatile. This doesn't mean it can't fall further, and this doesn't mean it can't get more expensive, but just in general, it's gonna have larger swings either up or down when it's trading here. Now, if you look at the market cap, this is a relatively small stock, so of course be quite careful. Now, something you should note also is to be a bit careful of the leadership in the stock has been under fire because they've sold all of their shares. So that is something you should note. Now, if we look at their earnings, it is quite clear in their revenue that it is going better and better and better, and they're earning more and more money. Now, this hardware right here, that is what has been put under hardware and shipping. That is why the colors change. But overall, it is increasing nicely, slowly but surely. And I do think we are going to see this be a great company in the future because I think having one of those drone guns is going to be common for everybody. Now, they are quite large in Australia and the United States, and that's of course obvious as it is an Australian company, but anything military is often always goes to the United States. But it's going to be interesting to see when they can get into Europe. Now, if you take an overview of the stock, it is something that's quite nice to see is they have virtually no debt at all. 9.15 million is nothing compared to how much cash they have, 2.73 million Australian dollars. And of course, they have an enterprise value of 2.77 billion. So again, it is a small company. Now, something you should note is their price to earnings is quite expensive, currently at 395. Now, of course, this is much more normal in small companies like this with a low market cap. And their price to sales as well at 27.35. Now, previously we have seen quite much lower price to sales as 2023 it was a 3.25 and in 2024 it was 8.31. So, of course, always a bit interesting when it's so high. Now, if we go down here and look at the seasonals for the stock, it goes up and down quite a lot. Now, recently, like 2025, it was an insane year. At one point, the stock was up, as you can see right here, 785%, absolutely crazy. Then we have years like 2024 up by 100%, 2023 up by 64%. Overall, some quite great years. But if you scroll down backwards, the previous years haven't been that great. But then again, that was when the company was quite new. And still, it is a relatively new company, as I believe it was founded in 2015. Yes, so it's only 10, 11 years old. Now, if we go down and look at the technicals, for the day it's a sell, on the week basis it's a buy, and on the month basis it's a buy, even a strong buy over in the moving averages. For on the short period it's a sell, but then long it's a buy. Always be a bit careful, of course, as we see huge price action both up and down in a company like this. And we also have a death cross right here on the 4th of February. So currently it is in a downward trajectory. Now, if we look at the analyst rating, we only have 2 analysts and the price target is the same at 5. Now, always be a bit careful when we have virtually no analysis on this, because of course then the range within these analyses are going to be much smaller. Now, personally, I think $5 to $2 is quite clear. Personally, I think that's where it's going to end up. So I wouldn't be surprised if it fell back down to 2. Not even surprised if it fell back down to 1, as it is still a very relatively new company and they're not making that much money. Now, if you look at the EPS, the annual estimates, it is getting better and better, but we haven't seen it for 2025 yet. And of course, it is nice to see they're guiding strongly, but overall still not that much. However, if we look at the revenue, we can see something that is great. That is how much more revenue they're guiding. And of course, this makes a lot of sense, as previously we haven't had this much problem with drones, but the war in Ukraine has shown us how much we need drone safety equipment. So of course, it's great to see they're guiding so much ahead. Now, I don't own any stock in Droneshield Limited, but it is definitely one I'm keeping my eye on, as I think they're quite interesting, and I haven't seen many companies like this, which is primarily focused on drone shielding and not attacking. That was my stock analysis of Droneshield. So if you like this video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And of course, remember, this isn't financial advice. This is entertainment and educational purposes. But if you want to see more videos like this, please leave a comment to analyze in the comment section below.